الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلاة ربي وسلامه ورحمته وبركاته على ذاك النبي الكريم نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. طيب يا معاشر الإخوة, we talked about the hadith of Sahl ibn Sa'id al-Sa'idi that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned and said, this ummah will always be upon me, they will never cease to be upon that khayriyah, that excellence, that prominence, as long as they hasten to break the fast. So hastening to break a fast is something that is mamduh, shar'an, something that is praiseworthy. And one should not think or hesitate to practice the sunnah and think that it's actually good to put it off, let's put it off for extra 20 minutes to a half an hour. La. Soon as the time has been assured that it's in, to want to now practice this tremendous sunnah of hasten towards breaking the fast. You'll find that even from the Ahl Ilm, that say when a person that even puts it off to a long distance in time, from them is the great Imam Shaykh Salih Fawzan, even what he goes on to say, he says, وَمَنْ زَعَمَ أَنَّ فِي تَأْخِيرِ الْإِفْطَارِ تَعَبُّدًا وَتَقَرُّبًا إِلَى اللَّهِ فَقَدْ زَادَ فِي الصِّيَامِ فَصَامَ جُزْءًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ فهذه زيادة في العبادة والزيادة في العبادة كالنقص فيها كلاهما لا يجوز والواجب الاتباع يعني اتباع سنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He goes on to say that putting off breaking a fast, if one wants to do it so-called out of worship and drawing close to Allah, he is actually increased in siyam and did something extra in it, to a point where he fasted a part of the night in which, like we said, he's supposed to stop his fast. And something extra in ibadah is actually like it rendering it incomplete in it, or putting something incomplete in it. A lot of people think that. He said, فَهَذِهِ زِيَادَةُ فِي الْعِبَادَةِ, to a point where the night comes in, and a person thinks he's doing it from the aspect of zuhud and aestheticism, or doing something that's extra in worship. He said this type of so-called ziyada, what is extra in the aspect of worship, is actually something that's incomplete in it. And both of them are not permissible. Rather, it's obligatory to follow the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just as, for example, a person right now wants to come and pray. I want to pray, do some extra good. I want to pray 5 raka'at in the Isha. I want good. I want worship. Yahi, you're going to tell me I'm doing something wrong? It's ibadah. It's prayer. What will a person say? It's the same thing that the people try to say. الآن لو زاد الشخص ركعة خامسة في العشاء ماذا تقول فيه؟ ستنكر عليه وتنكر الشد الإنكار عليه وتشدد النكير عليه. If a person now is to increase and do 5 rakat in Salat al-Isha, what would be your opinion? What would you say to him? You've lost your mind. I think all the Muslims in the masjid, qatibatan, unanimously, will all say what? This person has bumped his head. Or the only thing we'll try to do is make excuses. Do you realize, or did you forget to the point where you made an extra rak'ah? And the person says, no, I know exactly what I was doing. Everybody unanimously what? Think he's lost his mind. Am I right or wrong, everyone? So based upon that, it's the same principle. For now to add something into worship, of something that has not been established upon the Prophet ﷺ, is something that is what? Something that is evil. And don't think you're doing something extra. I'm fasting an extra half an hour of my worship. What am I doing wrong? It's ibadah. No, it's going against what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ ordered and commanded. And this type of so-called extra thing you're doing, in actuality, it's what? It's something that's dispraiseworthy and it's incompleteness. So is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So for that regard, like we just mentioned and said, we said that there is from the sunnah is to hasten towards breaking the fast and not to put it off, and one not to think from bad to the aspect of zuhud or wara', from piety or aestheticism, that it is from doing so, or doing this type of act, which clearly goes against the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jay. So look to now the next narration on the authority of Tirmidhi, on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. And by the way, what was Abu Hurairah's real name? Everyone, just as a side benefit. Masmu Abi Hurairah radiyallahu anhu wa You hit it right on those. Ahsant. Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr al-Dawsi. Abu Hurairah, there's a lot of aqwal of the names of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. But from his name, but what is the qawl rajih? Abu Hurairah, his name is Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr al-Dawsi. Abdurrahman ibn Sakhr al-Dawsi. Al-Dawsi. He was originally from Yemen. Radiallahu anhu ardah. طيب. He was originally from Yemen. Al-Yemen. He was originally from Al-Yemen. طيب. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu related that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu said that Allah ta'ala said that the most beloved of worshippers to me are those who hasten quickly, or those who are the most who hasten quickly towards breaking the fast. They are the most, that Allah ta'ala says that the most beloved of slaves to me is those who are what? The quickest towards breaking their fast. Allah Ahl Ilm that they mention it say that this hadith is what? Is weak. But however, it does what? The meaning is definitely correct. Because we know that from hasten towards breaking a fast is an affair which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what? At the end of the day, what everyone loves. Because it's something that the Messenger of Allah legislated. And if the Messenger of Allah legislated, then we know it's from Allah. Due to the fact that we know Allah ta'ala clearly says in this book, لا ينطق عن الهوى إن هو إلا وحي يوحى. That he doesn't speak of his own desires, right? It's revelation that's being revealed to him, alayhi salatu wasalam. So for ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, in this particular regard, what do we say? Even though the hadith in it has some da'f, has some weakness in it, due to what they call Qurra, his name was Qurra ibn Abdurrahman al-Ma'arifi. He was in the Isnad, and he has some weakness with him. But we said that the meaning is correct. So we say in this particular narration, the meaning is correct. Due to the fact that the other authentic narrations affirms this what? This affair from them is what we just mentioned. The hadith of Sahl ibn Sa'id al-Sa'idi. That the Messenger of Allah said that the ummah will have khayriyah, prominence, and excellence as long as they practice the sunnah. To let us know that this affair is beloved to Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? By the way, what is al-hadith al-Qudsi? Now probably those who are listening online, especially in Washington D.C., will probably be laughing. Because I've said this 1,000 times when I was in Washington D.C. Like, what is a hadith al-Qudsi? Is it a statement, is a hadith al-Qudsi? Is a statement from the Messenger of Allah? Or is it wahi from Allah? But it's from the statement of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Or I'm sorry everyone, astaghfirullah, is the meaning from Allah and the statement from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Or is the meaning from Allah and a statement from Allah ta'ala both? I'll say it again. I'll ask the question again. Stay firm. Answers is طيب. Is al-hadith al-Qudsi, is the meaning from Allah and the statement from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or is the meaning and the statement from Allah ta'ala? Meaning and? Alhamdulillah, we have a unanimous. What do you say, Amir? That's walking out the room. That's a good way to get out of that one. طيب. He said he agrees with the brothers say. The correct statement in this regard is you're correct, absolutely. Al-Hadith al-Qudsi, the meaning and the statement is from Allah. In contrast to what? Some of what you'll find from our A'imma, and what you'll find from them is the great Imam, Sheikh Muhammad Amal al-Jami, corrects anybody from the A'imma, from our ulama, and he says that was a mistake from them, and may Allah ta'ala, of course, reward them for their ijtihad, because from them is Shaykh Uthaymeen. So he said, however, it is a mistake. Sheikh Muhammad Aman al-Jami is firm on this, and his adillah is very strong. And this is also the position of Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. And it is also the opinion of our beloved Fadilat al-Shaykh Hafidullah Ubaid ibn Sulaiman al-Jabiri Hafidullah. Says the exact same thing. And he says, whoever says that the meaning and the name is not from Allah, or the meaning is from Allah, and the statement from the Messenger of Allah, he has said the statements of Ahl al-Bid'ah in this regard. He has said the statement of Ahl al-Bid'ah, especially the Asha'ira. The Asha'ira that say that the speech of Allah is metaphoric. They say this love is metaphoric, but the speech is done inwardly inside of Allah. But the outward words is what? Just plain and metaphoric. But however, Allah speaks inwardly, but it's not actual words. Rather, it's called kalam nafsi. Speech that's done what? Inwardly. Which is batil. Anything you hear of their creed, as soon as a person hear it, a person will say that is absolutely doesn't make any sense. It sounds like what? Absolute nonsense. Right, everyone? For what? You'll find that Ahl Sunnah, what they say, always, walillahi alhamdu wal minna, makes sense and agrees with the fitrah, the natural disposition of the human being. When they hear it, it makes sense. Allah is one. But the Christians say it's three. Or no, he's part. Or no, he's the son. Or no, he's third of three. No, we just say it's simple. Ahl Sunnah and the people who's upon the truth say, no, Allah is one and He created everything. Simple. As soon as you hear it, it makes sense. You understand, everyone? And in this regard, similar to what? Al-Hadith al-Qudsi. In this particular position, which is from the great Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah. He said the Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah, lafdhan wa ma'nan. And I even heard it also from our Mashaykh also. وَالرَّغْمَ أُنُوف أَصْحَابَ السَّعَافِقَةِ. Those who say about our Shaykh Arafat Muhammadi, what he taught in his book, Kitab al-Imam by Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, said the exact same thing. He said that the meaning as far as Hadith al-Qudsi is from Allah. Lafdhan wa ma'nan. Both. Arafat Muhammadi, from my teachers likewise. And I'm honored to say that about him. رغم أنوف أصحاب السعافقة الذين يرمون أهل الصلب السعافقة ونحو ذلك ونحن لا نلتفت إليه ولا نعبأ بكلامهم البتة. But however, we say about this particular position, first of all, in regards to it being, or Hadith al-Qudsi, is from Allah in the meaning and the wording. Both. Like we said, from the ulama, from them. Shaykh Muhammad al-Jami, from them. Ibn al-Qayyim, from them. Shaykh Ubayl al-Jabiri, from them. Okay, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? As far as for those ai*imma who are from our ulama, who we do not speak ill about, then they made a mistake, and inshallah they will be rewarded for their ijtihad. They will be rewarded for their ijtihad, but in this particular regard, this particular statement, it is a what? Khata. And Allah Ta'ala will reward them for what they put forth of an effort in seeking the truth. Jayyid. Tayyib. So we said in this regard about this particular narration. The narration is what, everyone? Is da'if. But they said that the meaning, no doubt, is correct. طيب, the next hadith on Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تسحروا فإن في السحور بركة. In the authority of Anas ibn Malik, that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said تسحروا فإن في السحور بركة. Take the pre-dawn meal. Eat the pre-dawn meal. For verily in the sahur, on the pre-dawn meal, is blessing. In it is what? Is blessing. Hear this, ya ma'ashar al-ikhwan, as far as this third hadith. The Messenger of Allah is clarifying of what? One should what? Oh, hold on. What's it saying that? It's talking about both. Like that tasahharu for very in suhoor is what? Is barakah. There's a lot of narrations, not just this one, but even Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, he mentioned one narration in this regard. But there's more narrations in this fadl, this bounty of eating suhoor. From them is the hadith of the Messenger of Allah which we'll mention. We have time, especially in Ramadan, you'll hear this hadith inshallah in Ramadan. إن الله وملائكته يتسحرون على يصلون على المتسحرين. Verily Allah and His angels يصلون على المتسحرين. That they send salawat. That Allah and His angels send salawat upon those who take the pre-dawn meal. Imam al-Albani authenticated it. Yes. What is the meaning of sending salawat? As far as when it pertaining to Allah, what does it mean, everyone? Sending blessings. What is the meaning of it? Mercy, blessing, reward, as it pertains to Allah. Or mentioning or praising them with the angels. As far as in with the angels, what does it mean of their salawat, meaning seeking forgiveness, asking Allah to forgive them, to the end of it. That's the meaning of salawat here. You understand, everyone? Doesn't mean actual prayer. Because prayer can also mean, and linguistically, dua. It doesn't mean actual prayer. It can mean dua, supplication. So, the angels that they supplicate, make istighfar, and they ask Allah Ta'ala to have mercy upon those who take the pre-dawn meal. So that's another bounty that you don't want to miss upon, or miss out on, during the month of Ramadan. Don't you want Allah and the angels send salawat upon you? So the pre-dawn meal has this virtue in it. A lot of people, like we said, they'll give a lot of importance to it. The pre-dawn meal is very important. And also the message of Allah said in another narration, Halummu ila al-ghidha al-mubarak. He says, come to a blessed type of nutrients. Meaning Allah put barakah inside of that pre-dawn meal. And you'll find from some of the benefits that Al-Ilm mentioned, it says, you'll find that Allah puts a barakah where it will suffice you for the day. How many of us have fasted Ramadan and we have eaten the pre-dawn meal and Allah put it in barakah where it suffices us for the whole day? And we did not complain about what? Food or drink. The first couple of days until our bodies become acclimated, until we'll find that that meal sufficed us. That's from its barakah. That's from its barakah in which Allah Ta'ala had what? Put in it. So is it clear, everyone, what we're saying? So first of all, Allah sends His mercy. And He also, His angels, make dua for you when you eat suhoor. And also what is in it of barakah from that nutrients in which the message of Allah said is called mubarak, is blessed. Alhamdulillah. Allergies. Also the other narrations of the message of Allah, going back to what we mentioned before the lesson, about the Furqan again, right, everyone? Notice that the Furqan still is actualized in these particular narrations. There's another narration where the message of Allah mentioned said, فَصْلُ مَا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَ صِيَامِ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ أَكْلَةُ السَّحَرِ. He said that which distinguishes us as far as in our siyam. And the siyam of the people of the book is the eating of the pre-dawn meal. So the message of Allah also likewise added another what? Benefit. That which will show and distinguish you from the people of the inhabitants of hell. Who are, like we said, who the message of Allah told us to oppose as much as we're able. To not resemble them as much as we're able. Especially in our affairs of ibadah. Especially in the affairs of worship. Especially in the affairs of worship. Especially. So now the message of Allah gave all these different what? Different types of fada'il, virtues of eating the pre-dawn meal. From them is what was mentioned in this book. He says suhoor has barakah in it. Another narration, I forgot because I haven't read it, it's been like a year. But inshallah I'm going to bring it because I know exactly where all the narrations pertain to suhoor is at. Anyway, from them is Allah and His angels send salawat upon the what? The one who eats it. From them, Al-Prophet said that it's a barakah in it. It has barakah in it. And like we said, from that barakah which Allah Ta'ala puts in it, is that you'll find that it usually what? Suffices the person for the day. That's from the barakah. That's from the barakah. Also likewise in it is actualizing the furqan, of distinguishing yourself between the people of falsehood. From them is the people of the book. That's also from its what? Its virtues. Also from its virtues is practicing the sunnah of the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For no doubt, practicing the sunnah of the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will bring barakah in your life. And it will bring enlightenment in your life. And it will bring barakah in your life in general. For those who likewise, you'll find, especially even myself, and we're not like Maghamisi who say, Hamzah amru mujarrab, hada amru mujarrab, hada. We're not talking about, we're going to use people from the people of misguidance. His name is Maghamisi. He said, this thing is experienced, this thing is experienced. We don't go into those extremes. But we know that even for myself, that whoever misses out on the pre-dawn meal, that seems like the fasting was what? Fasting was a little bit more difficult in that day. It was a little bit where you were more sluggish. Rather, if you took the pre-dawn meal and did what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ told you to do, it sufficed you for the whole day. And you felt more what? Energetic to get things done. Even though you might have some slight weakness, but it's not that bad. Where you can still get through your what? Your day. But when you missed the pre-dawn meal, and you didn't take the instructions of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, then you find difficulty. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So that's the other narration in which the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned about السحور. Last one. Where it says on the authority of Salman ibn Amr al-Dabbi, إذا أفطر أحدكم فليفطر على ماء فإن لم يجد فليفطر على ماء فإن لم يجد عفوا فعلى تمر فإن لم يجد فليفطر على ماء فإنه طهور. If one of you was to what? Break his fast, and then break his fast upon a date. And if he does not find it, then upon water, for very it is pure, or it's a purification. There's another narration where the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned and said, فَإِذَا أَرَادَ أَحْدُكُمْ يُفْطِرْ فَلْيُفْطِرْ عَلَى رَطَبَاتٍ فإما يفطر على رطبات فإن لم يجد فحسى حسوات من ماء. With the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, that he used to break his fast upon rutab. It's a type of date which is moist. And usually keep it cold in the refrigerator. It's real soft. He says upon rutab. That's why I'm trying to order some before Ramadan actually starts. Before it actually starts in a couple of weeks. So he says that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ will break fast upon rutab. And if he didn't find rutab, then upon tamar, upon an actual date. And then he didn't find out, he would take sips of water. Sips of water. فَيَا مَعِشَ الْإِخْوَةِ. This is another aspect you'll find a lot of people neglect. And they say it's not a big deal. Yeah, just get the spaghetti, the hamburgers, the Pepsi. Let's get all the food out. Let's get all the everything that causes indigestion. It will cause you to sleep on the floor, snoring before it's time to pray Tarawih. And maybe if it's Fajr and miss other things. You understand, everyone? If the people only follow the instructions of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, you'll find that it will give you strength back in your body, so you'll be able to get up and pray Tarawih. So you will not feel sluggish, lethargic, or any of these matters will overtake you. However, a lot of us, when we go against the sunnah, it's not a big deal, it's only sunnah, we ain't got to do all that. Bring out the burger, bring out the lasagna, bring out the other types of food. Listen to this. Even with the great Imam, he mentions it goes on to say, like Salih Fawzan. He says, بيان ما ينبغي يفطر عليه الصائم وهو أن يفطر على التمر فهذا أفضل شيء لأن التمر. He says what a person is supposed to break fast upon. They break fast upon a date. He said that is the best thing. He says because dates has special qualities in it. فيه خصائص طيبة. Has special good qualities in it. He says it's not found in anything else. For it's the best type of sweetness. For a person who's fasting, the best thing that he can take when he wants to what? Break his fast, that in it has in it some sweetness. Not now-laters. Okay? We're not talking about now-laters. We're not talking about sweet tarts. We're not talking about sugar daddies, M&Ms. No. We're talking about dates. So now no person say, see, the best thing you can break your fast is something sweet. So now you think you see people bringing in Twix, now-laters, Kit Kats, Snickers, you name it. No. Dates. Why you'll find that he mentioned it said here, the great Imam, may Allah preserve him, he says, لِأَنَّ تِلْكَ أَصْلَحُ لِلْمَعِدَةِ. It's the best thing that will rectify your intestines in your stomach and your digestive tract. Because the Messenger of Allah, when he used to break fast, he'd break fast upon that. If he didn't find it, he used to break fast upon water. How many people that you'll find that have eaten and opposed the sunnah, as soon as you see them eating, breaking fast upon French fries and hamburgers and fried chicken and lasagna and spaghetti, they have a stomach indigestion problem and they're out on the rug snoring. Or you'll find them sitting in the chair, it's time to pray Tarawih. I don't feel like it. You understand? Sluggish. So for that, hold on, just give me 1 second. For that reason, he said this is what? It's beneficial for the stomach. If you've not found that, then let you break your fast upon water. For verily it is what? Praiseworthy purification. And it will what? Purify the intestinal tract. And it will purify it and wash it. He said, for verily in it, this is what's most beneficial for the stomach when it's been empty for a long period of time. When it's a long period of time, certain things build up in it of acid and other things. And it shrinks. So you need to gradually what? Bring it back to its normality or regularity, if you want to say. So way you do that is what? Eat a date. Why? 2 reasons. The date, the sugar, of course, in it. Person was saying, I've heard people say this out of their own mouths. And I've told them when I looked at them, they said, Yahi, you even got to watch when eating those dates from Medina and dates from overseas. And I ever heard a non-Muslim say this to me when I was walking through the airport. And I said, oh, okay. And I kept moving. He said this to me in the airport. He said that happened to me about last month when I went to Umrah. He says, what you bring back with you? I said, dates. He said, you better watch those dates. There's a lot of sugar in it. So I said, oh, okay. So I kept walking. They think they know it all, right? First of all, number 1, as far as in regards to the wahi of Allah, Allah sent down that dates is healthy for you. The Messenger of Allah even said in authentic narration to the point where he said, whoever doesn't have dates in his house is as if he has something empty, something he's tremendously what? Beneficial is not in his house. So we have something of what? Wahi. Once revelation comes in part with men's studies, we take people's studies and throw it in the garbage. So nothing opposes the revelation. Once we got revelation, take your little political nonsense and analysis and throw it in the garbage. Allah himself said it's beneficial. The Messenger of Allah says beneficial. Suffices us. That's number 1. Number 2, on top of that, and I just found this from even a non-Muslim. He's very educated. And he even said it himself. He said, whoever said, and I was surprised at this, and remember this hadith kicked in my mind when I heard this statement from this non-Muslim. Is inna Allah la yu'ayyidu ad-deen bil-rajul fajir. Verily Allah will aid this religion by what? By a person who's a fajr. A person that's evil. Listen to this. This came in my mind when I read this. So when he's bringing all of his facts. He said, whoever said that dates is not good for you is absolute nonsense. He said, this nonsense. They don't know what they're talking about. He said, because, and he was breaking down the reason. He said, because, he said, first of all, when you look, it is high in sugar slightly. Some of them are higher than others. However, he says, if you look at carbohydrates and you look at what is pertaining now to carbohydrates and dietary fiber, the dietary fiber is higher. So it does not digest like regular sugar in your bloodstream. Meaning that the process of digestion is slow. So it won't spike your sugar up because the dietary fiber is higher than the net carbs. But they're not looking at that. They so dumbfounded. They just look at the what? Look at the sugar. The sugar is high in sugar. Oh, no, you can't do sugar. Yahi, it's high in the net carb as far as the dietary fiber. If that's high, that means it doesn't have the same effect as actual what? Sugar. That means it gets digested slowly in the bloodstream. Where it doesn't cause that spike like the Pepsis you knuckleheads drink. You understand, everyone? Because once you drink those type of things, your body absorbs it extremely fast. That's why they call it high glycemic. Extremely fast. Once you drink it, the sugar's in, your body absorbs it extremely too fast. It sends it on like a high, like crack, and then you what? Crash. Because your sugar is too high. But when something has high dietary fiber in it, it compensates for that. So it doesn't get digested like what? Like sugar. It's slowly digested in the bloodstream. Where in actuality is what? It's good for you. That's the reason why when he brought this, I was like, wow, look at him refuting these knuckleheads. He's not even Muslim saying this. He says dates is good for you. It doesn't cause any harm upon the body. Because I even heard in the SAG, I even heard Muslims say this. Muslims said, oh, you got to watch them dates, say high in sugar. You got to watch it, sheikh. You got to watch it. I was like, akhi, we got wahi of Allah. That suffices. You got wahi, khalas. That removes all the studies of what this kafir, this or with that person. As soon as you got wahi, it's done. Done. You understand, everyone? And I'm talking about preferably the dates from Medina. I ain't talking about the dates from California, even the GMO, genetic modified. But even though, if that's what's all we have available, then people can eat that. Even though I don't preferably like those dates. But the dates from overseas is way more better. Way, way, way more better. But anyway, we'll suffice for this tonight. That'll be enough for today. I think I've been talking for like an hour and a half. Any other questions? We'll start with this and we'll continue Sunday evening. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. From overseas in Medina? You can't. Some of those Islamic, even those Islamic centers, Islamic places, I don't even like those either. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you later. I like to get my dates naturally from where I usually get them, from one of the brothers overseas that knows what are the good quality dates, and they send them here. Those are the best dates. I'll talk to you about it later, inshallah. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.